A couple of weeks ago, I made a video about how I have a hard time celebrating Christmas since I have left religion. I grew up Calvinist. I was a member of the Presbyterian Church USA for a long time, and then for, like 20 years, I was a member of the Presbyterian Church in America. If you're Presbyterian, you understand the significance of the differences between those two denominations. I don't have time to get into all of it right now. But anyway, I was a very devout Christian. I consistently butted heads with other people within my congregation, within my denomination, for a number of reasons, including the way that I parent my children. I don't believe in obedience, right? So we're all like learning the Westminster Confession and we're teaching it to our kids. And I'm like, I don't believe in obedience. I don't think that my children should obey me. I don't agree with authoritarian parenting at all. And I think that was kind of the beginning of the unraveling of my faith for me, was seeing what the church thought about children, how they treated children, and then likewise the way that so many in the church approached poverty, right? I saw what Jesus said, what the scriptures said about how we should treat the poor, and then I saw the way that the church was treating the poor. And at that time, we were a family living very much on the margins, right? My husband and I were college educated, but we were basically living in poverty, and having that experience of being somebody who was raised in a middle-class family, right? Like my dad was in the Air Force. We were a very comfortable family. He was a colonel by the time, I graduated from high school. But then to be an adult with not really any family support whatsoever and living in really difficult financial circumstances, I gained a level of awareness of what it's like to be poor in America. And I mean being more financially precarious than living paycheck to paycheck. I mean like being food insecure. We were that way for many years. I watched the amount of wealth that existed in the church, the kind of cliquiness, the way that the really wealthy members of my congregation were quite hesitant. Now, not all of them, some of them were extremely generous, but a number of wealthy members of the congregation who just seemed completely checked out in terms of the needs of the poorer members of the congregation and the needs of the people who lived around us in Portland, right? Our church was in downtown Portland, and homeless folks would be directly outside and would often come into our services. All of that was kind of the beginning of the unraveling for me, those two things, parenting and then the church's approach to poverty. I'm not saying there aren't people of faith who have deep respect for children, and I'm not saying there aren't people of faith who are not serving the poor. That's not what I mean at all. I just saw a level of hypocrisy that caused me to question the institution that I gave so much money and volunteer time to, the amount of labor that is expected of women in the church that we're supposed to cheerfully give for the institution. I wasn't willing to participate in that anymore. And unfortunately for me, one of the consequences of that, yes, I had to go through that journey of deconstruction, and it was a tremendous amount of work, and it's still ongoing. And I feel like so much guilt and shame has just been liberated off of me, right? I am not beholden to all of the kind of fear and shame that I experienced when I was in the church. So there's so much good that has come out of it for me personally, and I think definitely for my children. But there's also a sense of loss, and I feel that biggest sense of loss at the holidays. So I made a video about that a couple of weeks ago. It's hard for me to get in the Christmas spirit. It's hard for me to want to celebrate in the same way, because a lot of the rituals, a lot of the meaning is just poof, it's just gone from the holiday for me. And I know a lot of exvangelicals, they start to do more traditional kind of winter solstice festivals, or they try and tap into other forms of spirituality to find meaning at the holidays. And I think that's totally fine. So when I made my video, y'all gave me tons of suggestions for how to get through this time and how to enjoy this time and celebrate it, right? Because I want to make sure it still has meaning for my children especially. And y'all had tons and tons of great suggestions. And actually my husband watched that video. He watches all my videos, by the way. He's my biggest cheerleader. And he came to me and he was like, I'm sorry that you're having a hard time. I'm going to take over presents for Christmas. Don't worry about it. If you can't get in the zone to figure out Christmas presents, which it used to be that I had all our Christmas presents either made or procured by Halloween so that we could just really focus on the holiday and focus on the Advent celebrations. He was like, don't worry about it. I got it handled. Some folks in my comments were like, how about you just start decorating a little bit for Christmas? So I don't know if you can see behind me, I spent some time today even decorating my bedroom. I didn't ever in the past put Christmas stuff out in my bedroom. And I thought, I'll go ahead and do that this year. So I have, a little Vinox pyramid, and I have, I have a lot of decorations from 10,000 Villages that I inherited from my mother. She was really big into fair trade. And so whatever Christmas decorations I have that I inherited are either from Germany or they are from 10,000 Villages. So this is a little wool poinsettia wreath, and I have some other decorations around the house. and here in my bedroom. And that's helped me a little bit get in the mood. But I actually decided to go back. Someone said, could you find anything that you connected with when you were a person of faith that still has meaning for you? Like, is there any ritual or anything you participated in that is still worth holding on to now, bringing along with you into this new version of yourself? I mean, I've been this version of myself for 10 years, but is there anything from your past that still has meaning and you still think is worth celebrating? And I spent some time thinking about it, and I went back to a video I made several years ago where I talked about this organization, Advent Conspiracy. Because even as I was going through deconstruction, and for a lot of people, they stop believing and they're actively deconstructing while they're still attending services or they're still going through some of the motions. And I was definitely one of those people. So I had made some videos about Advent, and particularly Advent Conspiracy. And I actually spent some time earlier today on their website. And I was like, you know what? Just about everything on here I still agree with. I still find beneficial and important. So I thought I'd take a moment and share with you. As somebody who's been an anti-consumerist and anti-capitalist and deeply involved in permaculture for my entire adult life, I've always been really frustrated by the kind of hyper-consumerism around the Christmas holiday. The kind of like really, it's gross, y'all. It's gross how much stuff is marketed to us that we don't need, that makes us stressed out and go into debt at the holidays. And so, I discovered Advent Conspiracy, ages ago when they were brand new. Their focus is to have a Christmas that is a holy celebration that upholds your values. So they have these four elements, right? One is to worship fully, to make sure that Christmas begins and ends with Jesus. Well, obviously that's not what Christmas is for me anymore. But number two is to spend less. How do you free up resources for things that truly matter, that help you live out your values, right? Instead of just feeling obligated to buy stuff and gifts, just because that's what the culture expects of us, how do we use our resources at the holidays in a way that I think for Christians honors their religious values, and for me, I would say would honor my permaculture values. And then the third element of Advent Conspiracy is to give more. How do we give more? Not more stuff. We don't give more stuff. It's not about more gifts, but it's how do we give more intentionally, and how do we give more relationally? So how is it that we can give of ourselves, invest in other people, invest in relationships and causes, and thereby find more meaning at the holidays? And then the last element of Advent Conspiracy is to love everybody, to radically love other people as Jesus did. So reading through this today, I was like, gosh, everything on here, except for the maybe worship fully, everything from Advent Conspiracy is still applicable and useful to me. And how can I tap into that in order to find meaning at the holidays? Even if Christmas carols don't have the same religious meaning for me, even if we don't have an Advent wreath on our table anymore and we're not lighting candles every week and sharing scripture verses, that doesn't mean that the holidays have to be devoid of meaning. It doesn't mean that there aren't significant ways that we can practice radical love and care and upholding our values in a way that makes the holiday season still holy in a different kind of way. So I think I'm going to sit with this a little bit more, do some more reading, think more about how I construct meaning for myself and my family at the holidays in a way that helps me live out my values, in a way that is true to my values. And I'd love to know what you think. What does the holiday season look like for you, especially if you've deconstructed from religion? What does it look like for you at this time of year to live with purpose and to find joy in the season? Because I think that this is something a lot of us struggle with. I don't think that this is, I know it's not unique, because when I made a video about it, I got hundreds and hundreds of comments from people who said that they have the same kind of struggle. So I would love your advice. I would love to know what works for you, what you've tapped into, and how you find meaning, how you live out a purposeful and joyful holiday season.